jury will not be sequestered.
I'm Brian Buckmeyer, along with Terry Austin.
In the Weinstein case, fellow silence breakers and any
Selection is moving along
Well,
here.
I'll read the verdict, says Jesse Weber. Thanks for joining.
We don't tend to see it as raw as this.
Good evening and welcome.
Welcome to Law and Crime's afternoon session. My name is Bob Bianchi. I'll be taking it to 5 o'clock. So the stats are in: a 7-week trial, 3 days of deliberations, and the number is 12 hours and 45 minutes to come to a verdict in the star-studded case of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Let's go right to it, take a look at the verdict as it was coming out to the 3 counts that Johnny Depp said constituted defamation.
In civil case number CL 2019-2911, Mr. Depp's claim against Ms. Heard. 1. As to the statement appearing in the online op-ed entitled, "Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," in the Washington Post online edition. Quote, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that, question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false? Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes. 2. As to the statement appearing in the op-ed entitled, "A Transformative Moment for Women," in the Washington Post print edition and the online op-ed, "Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," in the Washington Post online edition. Quote, "Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out," end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that, question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false? Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes.
I don't know about you guys, but I was dying to be here at the Law and Crime Network when that verdict was coming in. Linda Kenny Bodden, I was so jealous. I was sitting at my couch watching it, like I'm sure all of you, just like struck as this verdict was coming out, finally coming to a conclusion. So far, so good for Johnny Depp. Let's listen to a little bit more of the verdict.
3. As to the statement appearing in the op-ed entitled, "A Transformative Moment for Women," in the Washington Post print edition, and the online op-ed, "Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change," in the Washington Post online edition. Quote, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse, end quote. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes. Has Mr. Depp proven by a greater weight of the evidence that question, the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the statement was false? Answer, yes. Question, the statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Question, the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard? Answer, yes. Question, due to circumstances surrounding the publication of this statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp? Answer, yes. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? Answer, yes. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award compensatory damages in the amount of $10 million. As against Amber Heard, we, the jury, award punitive damages in the amount of $5 million.
I have Philip Dube with me, just Deputy Public Defender, and Julie Rendelman, a law and crime analyst, a criminal defense lawyer, former prosecutor. Philip, let me run to you first. There was an award here of $10 million in compensatory damages, $5 million in punitive damages by operation of law, as they call it. Those punitive damages were reduced to $350,000. I may ask you a curveball question here, so I'll put you on the spot. I was just kind of wondering to myself, I mean, there was all that reform for many years ago talking about lowering punitive damage awards, and the jury does not know that there's a cap on the jury on the amount of punitive damages. Some say that that would have limited people who really should be held accountable if they act in an outrageous way. And so this verdict, the punitive damage part, significantly reduced to $350,000 by operation of law. Here's my question. He had 3 counts of defamation, all of which the jury believed, and they found compensatory damages up to $10 million. Why is there a $350,000 per count, or is the whole thing just reduced to $350,000, and if so, why?
It's per case, right? So in other words, all causes of action are capped at $350,000. It's part of the tort reform. I mean, the practical reality of it is you can't discharge it in bankruptcy. It would be an uncollectible judgment anyway. And juries are not told that there is a cap because they might not award anything. I mean, believe it or not, Bob, in the non-celebrity context, just saying, but $350,000 is a lot of money. You know, to most people who get sued for, defamation, libel, slander, invasion of privacy, to get hit with an underlying judgment and punitive damages up to $350,000 is a lot of coin.
Yeah, to Philip's point, Julie, the law is saying the compensatory damages are that which is compensating you for the injury that you sustained. And so the punitive damage, as Philip indicates, based on tort reform, lessens that, so it's not an outrageous verdict. Let me just ask you, Julie, because we've been on a couple of times talking about the case. I think I know your answer, but when you listen to this verdict as it related to Johnny Depp's claims, I'm sure you were in massive shock.
No, I mean, by the way, I want to first thank you for asking Mr. Dube that question because I didn't know the answer, so I appreciate that. In terms of, I wasn't in massive shock. I was shocked that it took them, that they were so quick. I thought it was a difficult hurdle. I think a lot of people did, although many who watched thought Amber Heard did such an incredibly poor job on the stand that the jury was going to potentially side with Johnny Depp because they didn't find her credible. I also thought that the verdict sheet was pretty complicated, and I was pretty impressed with the fact that the jury really only asked that one question and then was able to really walk through each of those questions one by one after getting that answer. So look, I give them much credit because it seems clear, especially based on the verdict they came back with regards to this specific count regarding against Johnny Depp for Amber Heard, that they really took the time to go through each and every statement to make sure that they were accurate in terms of whether something was defamatory and whether it wasn't.
Yeah, Philip, let me bounce it back to you. You brought up, and you seem to have a good handle on this, the damages. Now, you can get a verdict, but collecting on a verdict can be a completely separate matter. You made an allusion to bankruptcy. I'm wondering, is this dischargeable, as they would say, in bankruptcy court? And how difficult is it to collect a judgment like this, especially with somebody that may not have the funds to pay it?
Well, the short answer is it is non-dischargeable in bankruptcy because the jury made a finding of malice. In the federal bankruptcy code, there is an express provision that accepts judgments based upon a finding of malice from dischargeability. So Amber Heard is stuck with this. And one other fact that a lot of people don't know, in many jurisdictions, Virginia is one of them, in order to appeal that verdict and that judgment, she has to post a bond. And typically the bond is the total amount of the judgment plus attorney's fees. There is no way on God's green earth that Amber Heard, short of taking a loan out from the ACLU or from, Mr. Mosk himself, that she is going to be able to post that bond. And without a bond, this verdict stands.
Phil, let me go to you because I don't want to put we're criminal trial practitioners, so I want to throw this one last piece in because I think it's important. In some of the civil cases that I've tried, when we got a verdict in favor of us, we also got what they call prejudgment interest, which is kind of tacked on. Is that applicable? If you know, I know I'm asking you really nuanced questions on Virginia law, but if you know.
I believe it is, as well as post-judgment interest. It keeps accruing, and the interest rate, I believe, is statutory. So you have to look to the Virginia Code to see how much they can tack on per annum. So yes, quite frankly, that judgment keeps growing like a tumor. It doesn't ever go away unless you pay it.
Yeah, that's something I haven't heard anybody talk about because prejudgment interest and post-judgment interest can really add up. Julie Rendelman, as a skilled trial lawyer, I mean, if you're in a situation of Amber Heard, even if you don't do civil work, I mean, I suspect, and we'll talk to Philip about this as well, there's going to be somebody coming to the table here and saying, look, before all the appeals, with all the prejudgment interest, which could literally be millions of dollars in post-judgment interest when you add it up to the verdict right now, let's just settle this out of court with a confidential agreement and move on. What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Why not?
This one's for Julie. We'll get back to you, Philip.
Apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
He couldn't help to answer these civil questions. He can't resist. One of the interesting things about this case is that, Johnny Depp said from the start, this was never about money. It was purely about clearing his name. It would be quite interesting at the end of the day if Johnny Depp says, which by the way, he can, I don't want your money. The jury has spoken. The jury says that you lied, and that's enough for me. It is possible. Look, he has plenty of money. I understand there were some financial situations. And also, I not to be comical about this, but, she did win $2 million. Part of that, there's an argument to be made she can take that $2 million because that does counteract and that brings it a little bit lower. It's certainly still a whole lot of money. But he does technically owe her $2 million based on her being successful in that one statement that was made by his attorney.
Yeah, Philip, I'm gonna counter that $2 million with pre-judgment and post-judgment interest. And maybe if we get a chance during a break, we can kind of try to calculate that because that's going to wipe that $2 million. And we're going to get to her counterclaims away. In my mind, what do you think about the idea that he would try to settle, or they would try to settle? And do you think Johnny Depp is going to be the kind of person that says, well, I don't want it, or I'm going to give it to charity? I can't imagine he's not going to take the money and at least put it somewhere, given everything he went through. And let's not forget, there's attorney's fees that have to be paid as well.
Absolutely. And frankly, I don't even think he's going to respond to her demands. He's just going to go forward with his judgment, tack on costs, attorney's fees, and execute on the judgment if he can. You got to keep in mind, in the world of Johnny Depp, if we're all honest about it, $8 million is like cab fare. Come on, it's not big money to Johnny Depp. He lives in the world of what I call stupid money or monopoly money. In the Amber Heard world, $8 million is a king's ransom. She's nowhere near worth $8 million, so she'd never be able to pay it anyway. I don't really see Johnny Depp making any hard demands on her. He got his verdict. It's just now for the collection attorneys to go forward and try to collect on it. But I don't think that they're going to knock themselves out to do it. I'm not going to say she has an uncollectible judgment, but she will never be able to put this behind her for the rest of her life.
Yeah, Philip, I don't think a lot of people understand in civil cases you got to have the right case, and then you got to have a source to be able to pay those funds, because otherwise you may just have a paper judgment, at the end of the day. And so it will be fascinating to see whether or not, no doubt in my mind, there will be negotiations behind the scene. We're going to take a quick break, guys. We're going to be back on the other end with more of this fascinating verdict. Please stay with us.
Attention Medicare recipients. The Inogen One Portable Oxygen Concentrator may now be available at little or no cost to you. Call 800-418-9366 to order yours today. Inogen oxygen concentrators are portable and make oxygen from the air around you. They're light, quiet, and battery operated to go everywhere you go. And we have a full line of portable oxygen units to fit a wide range of budgets. If you're on Medicare, you may even qualify to get your Inogen unit at little or no cost to you. Go back to joining friends for the breakfast special, make spending time with the grandkids easier, or start attending your religious services again. Call Inogen now for a free information kit and a free no-obligation consultation on our complete line of affordable portable oxygen products. And anyone on Medicare or with eligible insurance plans may qualify to get an Inogen One at little or no cost. Call 800-418-9366. That's 800-418-9366.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-256-1761. That's 1-800-256-1761 now.
The world's gone wild over bucket hats. How do you improve on the must-have headwear everybody wants? With breakthrough cooling technology. Mission is the leader in cooling and heat relief innovations, now engineered into a full line of stylish and versatile bucket hats. The coolest hat you'll ever wear. On the outside, UPF 50 performance fabric. On the inside, our exclusive hydroactive cooling technology, now with 50% more cooling power. Activate with water, ring, and wave for cooling up to 30 degrees below your body temperature in under a minute. It's like your own climate control that goes where you go. Conquering the great outdoors, looking fabulous by the pool, or even better on the town. Hard at work or hard at play. No matter how hot it gets, cool more, do more with Mission. Machine washable, chemical-free cooling that lasts for hours. Go to mission.com right now to get your own cooling bucket hat starting as low as $19.99. For a limited time, use the promo code below to save 25% and get free shipping on all Mission cooling and heat relief innovations.
I'm Dan Abrams, and you're watching Law&Crime.
All right, as you know, Amber Heard also had counterclaims in the case, 3 of them to be exact. She only received a verdict on one of them with regard to Johnny Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman, who had made a statement basically indicating that her allegations were a hoax. The jury did find for Amber Heard on that and issued a $2 million verdict with respect to that. Let's take a listen to what Johnny Depp's attorneys had to say after this resounding verdict in favor of their case.
That the claims against Johnny Depp are defamatory and unsupported by any evidence. We are grateful, so grateful to the jury for their careful deliberation, to the judge and the court staff who have devoted an enormous amount of time and resources towards this case.
Our judicial system is predicated on each person's right to have his or her case heard, and we were honored, truly honored, to assist Mr. Depp in ensuring that his case was fairly considered throughout the trial. We are also most pleased that the trial has resonated for so many people in the public who value truth and justice. Now that the jury has reached its conclusive verdict, it's time to turn the page and look to the future. Thank you all so much, and thanks to the jury.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we actually heard about some arguments being made by others that Amber Heard won the case and he won the case, but you see Johnny Depp's lawyers out in front of that podium. You didn't see Amber Heard's lawyers out there. Let's not forget that Johnny Depp was not there for the verdict. He was in England at a concert in which he was playing, but he did give a statement. And he says, in part, 6 years ago, my life, the life of my children and the lives of those closest to me were forever changed, all in the blink of an eye. I hope my quest to have the truth be told will have helped others, men or women, who have found themselves in this situation. I also hope that the position will now return to innocent until proven guilty, both within the courts and in the media. So let me go to you, Julie, on this. I go to you first as a former prosecutor who's handled domestic violence cases and had people charged with this. This has become a very, very big issue. It's being kind of mixed into the Me Too movement, where lots of individuals are very, very upset about this verdict and saying it sets Me Too back, which I can't disagree with more. But the reality of the situation is, we know from having been in court, provably know, that there have been false allegations that have been made against people for all sorts of reasons. It is a thing that happens. So that does not diminish Me Too, to make sure that women in particular, their voices are heard and respected. But men are also victims of domestic abuse, and I find that some of the things that have gone on after this verdict and some of the statements that this sets that movement back to be, frankly, ludicrous to me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we kind of have to separate the Me Too movement, in a way. I mean, look, it's important. I'm a former prosecutor and I'm a defense attorney, so I see things from really all angles. And I represent clients all the time that are accused of sexual violence and are accused of domestic violence. Most of them, as we know, are men that are accused. By the way, there's times when the police come where the woman is making the accusation, the man is making the accusation, and they arrest the man because he's the man. And so I think it's important, especially I tell my clients, it's important for the prosecutors, and again, we're talking more in a criminal setting, to understand that simply a claim is important to be heard. It's important to be investigated, but we have to kind of wait till the end of the investigation to make a determination as to whether or not the complainant is truthful. There are times that obviously, a person comes forward, it's truthful, and a person should be held responsible and prosecuted, or in a civil setting, gone after, as they were in a sense in this case, with regard to Johnny Depp towards Amber Heard. But I think we have to be cautious when there's this statement that I hear people make that all women should be believed. I don't think that's a fair statement. And by the way, as a woman, I don't want every woman to be believed unless the job is done, an investigation is done, dotting your I's, crossing your T's. Detectives, have their work cut out for them to make sure that when they make an arrest, they're making an arrest because someone has actually committed a crime.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we know that are in a day in and day out in a non-celebrity kind of case. And so some of these comments, I think, actually set the movement backwards when you're making them. And it's so ironic, given the fact that she actually taunted Johnny Depp in this case, that going forward as a male in a domestic abuse case basically would not be believed. Nevertheless, the defense attorneys did not give, or Amber Heard's attorneys, I should say, did not give a press conference, but they were on the Today Show today. Elaine Brechtoff, the attorney, speaking to the Today Show about the verdict this morning. Let's take a listen.
She was demonized here. A number of things were allowed in this court that should not have been allowed, and it caused the jury to be confused. We weren't allowed to tell them about the UK judgment, so the damages is completely skewed. There are no damages. It stopped at November 2, 2020, which is when the judgment came down in the UK.
In closing arguments, Amber's team argued that this would send a message, that it would send a message that no matter what you do as an abuse victim, you always have to do more. You need to be perfect in order for people to believe you, if she did not get a favorable verdict. What message do you think this sends?
It's a horrible message. It's, as I said, a setback. It's a significant setback because that's exactly what it means. Unless you pull out your phone and you video your spouse or your significant other beating you, effectively, you won't be believed.
You know, that just is an outrageous statement to me because I have prosecuted many men who have been convicted without videotape statements or any other independent evidence, but the testimony and credibility of the victim alone. So I find that to be very dangerous. Anyway, Amber Heard gave a statement after the verdict, and essentially these are her words. The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I am heartbroken. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. Philip, I gotta say, I find these things to be extremely, extremely dangerous. That is not what this came out to be. In my mind, it came out to be a jury assessing the credibility of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp did what juries do and made a credibility determination, and there was ample attacks on her credibility. To then say that this was somehow something in which now sets women back, I just think is outrageous, especially being a person who works so hard to prosecute people who abused women on virtually no evidence but their testimony. Philip, what do you think?
Well, it only reinforced the meaningfulness and the majesty of the jury system. You know, a subset or a couple of subsets of the Me Too movement is men too and not you too. The jury recognized you can cry domestic violence all you want, but you better be able to prove it, especially if you're seeking $100 million from a cross defendant. You're just not going to get that kind of money. And if you are, you'd better be in a position to prove it. Now, I got to tell you, Bob and Julie, I flip-flopped throughout this trial as to whether or not I believed Amber. And I just let the evidence come in. I tried not to be influenced by social media, by all the talking heads, and just try to independently evaluate the evidence. And I got to tell you, when she testified about being bottle raped, I actually got a little choked up and I believed her. But then that believability and that likability factors started to wane and ebbed and flowed as other evidence started coming in, particularly when she set up the whole TMZ thing with the bruises at the courthouse and had her publicist and whoever else alert the media to come down and basically try to tank Johnny's career. And I think the jury saw right through it. Now, it's not to say that Amber did not suffer some type of injury, but I don't believe it was as a result of Johnny Depp being an initial aggressor. At most, it was probably defensive from Johnny Depp in reaction to Amber Heard, because she always appeared to be the initial aggressor.
Yeah, Julie, your thoughts as a criminal trial practitioner about any of this in terms of credibility, believability of witnesses, independent evidence that may support or not support, and the fact that a jury is there to do one thing that the courts have always said, they're there to assess, they can feel it, they're there in the courtroom, they see the mannerisms, they see the manner in which the witnesses are testifying, and it's their job to determine credibility. I disagree with many of my colleagues on this. I think that the 12-hour and 45-minute verdict was too sweet. I think it was very quick. I think they came to a liability determination very quickly and probably took most of that time to go over damages. What are your thoughts on any of that?
I don't know, because remember, the damages, at least part of them, weren't even written into the original verdict sheet. So I'm not clear about that. It's interesting what Philip said in regards to what he believed. The thing that kind of, for me, did it in for Amber Heard was the statements of sexual violence. I did not believe them from the start, and that tainted me in regards to other things she was saying, because I just did not believe the sexual violence part of her statements. I believed he was potentially committed criminal mischief. I believed that he threw things. I believed that he yelled and said inappropriate things to her, but I never could get past that. And so, look, I think the jury couldn't either. As the jury said, it said exactly that. I will say one thing is that, you know, the social media thing does concern me. The idea that, for example, I came on a show and said that I thought that the Amber Heard's team did a good job on summation. I was eviscerated for having that feeling. Social media, I understand everyone has an opinion about everything that happens, but it's also important to be objective. And so, calling Amber turd, things like that, to me, it doesn't get us where we need to be in terms of having an intellectual, intelligent conversation about the lack of credibility of a witness. I think we can do that without name calling.
Yeah, very, very well said, and very much agree. We can have a much more civilized dialogue, and I found at least most of those people making those outrageous comments, most of whom never even watched a stitch of the trial, but were just reading the headlines. Great commentary, guys. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the other end. Please stay with us.
I'm Jesse Weber, and you're watching Law and Crime.
Hi, it's me again. Listen to this. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check every month may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with the benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Check your zip code. It could be dynamite. Call now.
Call 1-800-595-8348. That's 1-800-595-8348 now.
Hi, I'm Jeff from Nuts.com. When my grandfather started this business in 1929, he relied on 4 important values: freshness, quality, variety, and service. I'm proud to carry on his legacy, but from a bigger space. We still freshly roast, season, and dip delicious nuts here in New Jersey and deliver them with the freshest dried fruits, snacks, and sweets to families that love our products all around the country, including mine. We think you'll love Nuts.com too, so check us out and enjoy free shipping on your first order.
This is Marianne's first time visiting Paris.
Madame, où allez-vous?
Before Marianne packed her bags, before she attempted her first sentence in French, before she completed her first 15-minute lesson,
Yes.
she downloaded Babbel. Babbel helped unlock her lifelong dream of learning French. She started speaking in just 3 weeks. So when it came time to tell the cab driver to take her to the Hotel Pierre,
J'aimerais aller à l'Hôtel Pierre.
Oh, c'est très bien. J'espère que votre voyage s'est bien passé.
150 language experts and educators designed Babbel to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language. Babbel focuses on natural conversation. You'll remember what you learn, and you can speak and pronounce with confidence. Start speaking a new language in 3 weeks. Try it for free at Babbel.com.
I was paying for in-flight Wi-Fi for months before I finally caught it. Truebill uncovers hidden subscriptions and notifies you when a charge is upcoming. From there, you decide if you want that service. And if not, cancel it right from the app with one tap. Download Truebill, the money app that works for you.
I love Simplify by Quicken. It shows me how much I'm spending and creates a personalized spending plan. I always know how much I can spend and save. How much more could you save? Take the Simplify challenge and find out. Named the best budgeting app by the New York Times Wirecutter. Start your free trial today.
Letting go of my diamond ring was really hard, but selling it for the best price was simple with Worthy.com. They evaluate your jewelry to help you understand what it's actually worth. Then they auction it to their network of professional buyers. Get more for your jewelry with Worthy.com.
Hair has always been central to my identity.
Once I started taking Nutrafol, I could see my hair get thicker.
It's also made my hair stronger.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
Okay, Okay, welcome back. So the fascinating verdict came in 12 hours and 45 minutes after 3 days of deliberation in a 7-week trial. There was a lot of commentary on this case. It's received an incredible amount of media and public attention. And now we know Johnny Depp was awarded $10 million in compensatory damages, $5 million in punitive damages, which by operation of law is reduced to $350,000. But clearly, the jury was making a point. Amber Heard won on one of her 3 claims for which Johnny Depp's attorney, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, Adam Waldman, had made statements claiming that this was some sort of abuse, claim of abuse, and somehow that was found to be defamatory. But in any event, lots of commentary. 2 great guests I have on here, but none can be better than our founder, Dan Abrams at the Law&Crime Network, and his take on this verdict. Let's take a listen.
Believe either, but in the end, I mean, when we talk to these jurors, and I'm sure that some of them will talk, they're going to tell you, I feel confident that they're going to tell you that they simply did not believe Amber Heard. Because remember, it's not that she won on all 3 of the counts with regard to her countersuit either. I mean, basically the jurors had come back and said he wins on all counts and she wins on all counts, then I'd have a different answer for you. But because they said he wins on all counts, but she just wins on this one issue, it seems to me that I don't see how those jurors believe on questions 2 and 3 with regard to Johnny Depp, not just the sexual violence claim, but the rest of it. I don't see how those jurors come back and say that he was defamed and that there was any sort of equivalency here. If he was defamed by that statement and Amber Heard did not win on those countersuits with regard to calling it a hoax, etc., these jurors clearly believed Johnny Depp and didn't believe Amber Heard.
Okay, wait. Everybody out there, just wait a second. Dan Abrams was not driving his vehicle and videotaping himself. He was in the back seat of the vehicle. It's a rough world, guys, out there, you know. Dan being very conscientious, not only in the back seat, had his seatbelt on and offering great legal commentary. Julie, let me go to you with this. I think Dan makes a point. Let's talk about how hard it is to win a defamation case against a public figure. Let's not forget about that. This is by clear and convincing evidence, which is the middle standard. It's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but it's also not a preponderance of the evidence. Clear and convincing evidence is the standard, but you also have to show for a public figure actual malice. The fact, I was always opining, correct me if I'm wrong, you disagree, Julie, that all the jury would have to find was that there was an incidence of domestic violence. It didn't have to be a lot of them. It didn't have to be many of them. It didn't have to be all of them. It just had to be domestic violence. They outright rejected it all. The sexual abuse claims and the domestic violence. That is the only way that you can take this verdict. And when you look at how hard it is to prove a defamation case with clear and convincing evidence, and you have to show actual malice, that's like almost like up to beyond a reasonable doubt in my mind. Julie?
Yeah, I mean, the sexual violence thing, I think, remember, there's different statements. One literally refers to sexual violence, and that I think that was the headline. And I agree with you that they outright dismissed that, and then they came back with defamation against Amber Heard. You know, look, we haven't spoken to the jurors yet, so we don't know exactly what was in their brain. One of the things they could have said is, you know what? We don't know exactly what happened. We don't know if there was ever a physical altercation between the two of them. But what we do know without any question is that she sure was physical towards him. And so we don't, I hate to say this, we don't really care because she was physical enough to him that she's certainly not the victim of domestic violence. And that is something the jury could have done in terms of their evaluation. I wasn't in the courtroom, in the jury room. I think it'll be interesting to hear once, because you know, 1 or 2 or 7 of them are going to be speaking to someone. You know, what their thought process was. By the way, I hate to say this, sometimes we don't want to hear what they have to say because sometimes it doesn't follow the law at all, but hoping that they followed the law, followed the judge's instructions, that they got it right because they understood everything and did as they should.
Well, jury verdicts are presumed to be valid unless otherwise overturned. Philip, let me go to push back on this point a little bit and get your thoughts. In order for Depp to win on those 3 statements, essentially, he's got to prove that there was no truth to those statements. and that he has to prove that by clear and convincing evidence. He's got to prove that the statements made by Amber Heard were not truthful and that they were actually done with actual malice. That's a pretty strong citing by the jury that Amber Heard was just not believed.
Exactly. And by the way, there's like sort of a little additional language to the malice definition, and that is she acted in reckless disregard for the truth. In other words, it's not just that she lied, where you could argue that maybe she embellished, she was a little hyperbolic in the way he, sort of manhandled or played rough and tumble games with her, but that she acted in reckless disregard for the truth, meaning she knew good and well that she over-exaggerated and, in fact, frankly, lied. And that's what this jury found. You got to understand, she is on video admitting culpability to hitting Johnny Depp. And she tried to downplay her level of violence or use of force by saying, oh, come on, it didn't hurt, and you hear him in the background and say, how do you know that it didn't hurt? Or words to that effect. You hit me. Yeah, it hurt. You don't have to have sutures, stitches, slings, and crutches and be in traction to qualify for domestic violence. Just a backhand, a slap, even a shove qualifies as domestic violence. And if she was doing that unprovoked to him, merely because he may have mouthed off or dropped the F-bomb or used potty mouth language, you don't get to hit your significant other for that. And I think the jury found that he was a victim.
Yeah, and of course, those tapes kind of indicating, mocking him for wanting to always leave when they were having an argument, which belied that. But the bottom line is you can't get to a finding on behalf of Johnny Depp unless you believe Amber Heard's statements were lies. That's the bottom line to what the jury concluded here. Let's take a listen to a little bit more of a very, very important aspect. We kind of touched upon it before, that Dan Abrams hit from Law&Crime Network, our founder, on the appeal possibilities and damages.
And remember, people have to remember that when you're appealing primarily the legal rulings, right? So she will appeal some of the testimony that was allowed to come in. She will appeal some of the aspects of the judge's rulings in this case, the pretrial rulings, the ruling itself. She's going to challenge the fact that there was a camera in the courtroom. There's going to be a whole panoply of challenges that she's going to make about how unfair the trial was, and she'll also seek to reduce damages. Right? In any appeal, the first thing you want to do, in addition to try and get a new trial, get it thrown out, is to try to reduce the damages and say that the jury made mistakes in how it assessed damages. I think that's her most likely chance of success here, but that's not going to be the win for her. I mean, this to me is just it's basically an all-out win for Johnny Depp, and I do think that this gets him exactly what he wanted here, which is, I don't think he cares about the money, whether he ends up getting the money. She probably doesn't have that kind of money. This is vindication for Johnny Depp. A jury has said that he was defamed by these comments. And that means that these jurors believe that he was not a domestic abuser. And I think that allows him to get back his career in many ways. You could argue there were other reasons he'd lost much of his career. But this is a massive win for Johnny Depp, and I don't think it can be underestimated. But we'll see. Look, there's going to be a lot of appeals. We're a long way from the final judgment being issued in this case, and Johnny Depp pursuing the damages against her. Well, let's see what happens there before we say that Amber Heard is going to have to declare bankruptcy, which is potentially something that could happen in the end if she owed this kind of money and simply can't pay it. She could also try and raise money through donations, etc., from other people based on the reaction to this trial. I'm not sure that would be particularly successful. But, I think we're a little ways away from knowing exactly how much she's going to have to pay and how she's going to get that money.
All right, there it is, founder of Law and Crime Network, Dan Abrams. And just in case you're joining us right now, I'm going to say it again before there's 2,563,500 tweets. Dan Abrams was in the back of the vehicle. He was not filming himself. He had his seatbelt on. It was all done in a safe and secure environment. It's amazing what we've got to do in today's world, guys. I mean, really. Great job, Dan. I can't agree with him more, Philip. Let me go to you on that. This is an outright resounding victory, but I've been saying from the beginning of this case, Johnny Depp won the moment he walked into that courtroom and he was able to tell his story after 6 years of being maligned, beaten up, victimized now, we can say, based on this jury's verdict. And so just the fact, and we know this, we've had clients like this, just the fact that they get to tell their story is enough. So he got that. In fact, he even testified to that during part of his testimony. But not only did he get that in the court of public opinion, a huge boost, women's groups actually supporting him, petitions being signed to have Amber Heard removed from the Aquaman films. But in the end, he won a huge resounding verdict that essentially said, as we talked about before, the jury did not believe Amber Heard. Do you see any success or any appellate issues on the horizon? Can you explain to our audience that it's not a retrial, what an appeal is, and what they would have to show and how difficult it may be?
Amber Heard is not even going to get into the Court of Appeals unless she successfully opens up a GoFundMe account to pay for the judgment and attorney's fees as a bond. You have to post that money. It's like a surety to avoid, dilatoriness, if you will, in dragging out appeals. So in other words, if you are a civil appellant and you feel that you have true meritorious claims on appeal, you better be able to put your money where your mouth is now, because if you don't have it, we are not going to prevent the prevailing plaintiff from executing on the judgment that they got from a jury. So I don't believe for 1 minute, unless she can, I'm not kidding, opens up a GoFundMe account or gets Elon Musk or the ACLU or some other benefactor to give her that $8,350,000 up front and any legal fees that could be assessed. Otherwise, she has no claim on appeal. Yeah. I think she's just posturing.
Yeah, and that post-judgment interest keeps adding and adding and growing while that process occurs. I'm really glad you brought up the ACLU. Hopefully, we're going to be able to get an opportunity to speak at that. Just for our audience, so you know, an appeal's not a second crack at the apple. There's got to be a legal basis that made the trial unfair from a legal evidentiary point of view, motion point of view, what have you. And usually the appellate courts defer greatly to jury verdicts and judges who are actually witnessing the jurors, witnessing the witnesses that had the actual courtroom experience. So I think it's going to be an uphill battle. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the other end. Please stay with us.
I'm Brian Buckmeyer, and you're watching Law and Crime.
Attention Medicare recipients. The Inogen One Portable Oxygen Concentrator may now be available at little or no cost to you. Call 800-418-9366 to order yours today. Inogen oxygen concentrators are portable and make oxygen from the air around you. They're light, quiet, and battery operated to go everywhere you go. And we have a full line of portable oxygen units to fit a wide range of budgets. If you're on Medicare, you may even qualify to get your Inogen unit at little or no cost to you. Go back to joining friends for the breakfast special, make spending time with the grandkids easier, or start attending your religious services again. Call Inogen now for a free information kit and a free no-obligation consultation on our complete line of affordable portable oxygen products. And anyone on Medicare or with eligible insurance plans may qualify to get an Inogen One at little or no cost. Call 800-418-9366. That's 800-418-9366.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare coverage helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-256-1761. That's 1-800-256-1761 now.
Embarrassed by ugly yellow toenail fungus? This stubborn condition won't go away on its own and usually spreads and gets worse. You need Crystal Flush, the new and different at-home treatment that flushes out fungus fast. The secret is its breakthrough two-step system. Its non-prescription serum contains the maximum strength FDA-approved ingredient, and the unique capsule helps balance the body's natural defense to fungus. Call right now and try Crystal Flush for 30 days absolutely risk-free. Call or visit crystalflush.com now.
Each year, Americans waste $21 billion by overpaying on car insurance. That's why I went to thezebra.com. Because while every company claims to save you money on car insurance, The Zebra shows you who actually can.
Compare car insurance for free at thezebra.com today.
Never be afraid of your strength, because your body is capable of amazing things. Own your strength and see how far it takes you. Tonal, be your strongest.
All right, we're covering the Depp Heard case, and Philip's got to go. So instead of doing a side, we gotta get right to Philip and Julie about some of these questions. First of all, let's go ACLU. Okay, what is their culpability or responsibility in all of this, Philip?
Frankly, I don't think they have any responsibility, to tell you the truth, unless Amber Heard wants to file a legal malpractice claim. But assuming she does, and they used the branch out here in California to help her draft that op-ed piece, the statute of limitations is up. You know, she got sued a long time ago. If she thought that there was any, malpractice, falling below the standard of care for competent attorneys, she should have brought that claim. I think it's within 1 year of the tort. So any claim that she might have is time barred, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and possibly agreed on a legal issue. I don't know the timing of it, but Julie, just from the court of public opinion, from reputational damage, getting involved in this, giving ambassadorships and money for a story, writing the article. What are your thoughts about the status or stature of the ACLU after this?
Well, look, it goes back to what we talked about before, is the idea that when you support someone, whether especially in a situation like the ACLU, you want to make sure that you do fact checking to make sure that you're on the right side. Look, anyone makes mistakes, and we see that the UK sided in her favor in terms of the fact that their position was that that Johnny Depp was not defamed. That was in regards to the actual publication. But does it have an impact on them? It does. They don't seem to be the focus. I'll be frank. The focus seems to be on Amber Heard, because she's the one, at least as the jury says, that told the lies. And in a sense, arguably, she told the lies to the ACLU as well.
Yeah, I just think that the whole way the thing went down was something that took a nick at the credibility of the ACLU, in my opinion. Not sure they really should be involved in something like that, but I'm not part of the group. So anyway, Philip, let me go to another thing. I found very interesting after this verdict, Amber Heard's statement and the statements of her team, that in my estimation, they're basically saying that this was not the right verdict, that they may not have used those exact words, and that this sets women back and the movement back. And is this not a regurgitation of the same defamation that got her into trouble in the first place? And now may it not even be worse because a jury came out against her? Did she commit another civil wrong here?
Well, not under California law, I think, because she might enjoy what we call the litigation privilege. If the final judgment has not been entered yet, I believe she can still speak while the litigation is pending. You should be able to speak freely about your pending case. Now, on the other hand, if the judgment has already been entered and she's just republishing defamatory remarks about Johnny Depp, which is obviously who she meant, then she could be subject to another lawsuit, frankly. And honestly, maybe even the media outlet that's been publishing all of this as well. You would think that everybody would hold back on that and just kind of wait for the dust to settle and not keep republishing. Because yes, I think it does put her at risk.
Yeah, Julie, I mean, what Philip is getting to is that the verdict is not finalized at this point in time. There's some motions and things like that, and then ultimately some procedural issues between the verdict being finalized. But even if during the course of a trial, if you're doing something outside the courtroom, extrajudicial statement, I think that she could be held liable, and those who are saying these things. What are your thoughts? We got about 45 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with her. Obviously, I understood her disappointment in regards to what occurred. And in general, the statement did not refer specifically to Johnny Depp, but there's a line in there where it talks once again about violence against women and not being heard. And I hate to go back and forth with what defamation means. Are we referring to Johnny Depp? Well, that's the only person she could be referring to. And I feel like she's, in a sense, doubling down when she makes that statement by saying, you know, I'm not backing off. And she's got to be careful. She's got to toe the line. Yeah, certainly in regards to that.
I definitely would not have done that if I were her, and certainly wouldn't have given her that legal advice. It's clearly relating back to Johnny Depp and this case. Philip, I know you got to go. Thank you, my man. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Look, as history is being made, National Collectors Mint and the Cook Islands announced the limited public release of their first 2022 silver double eagle $2 coins. Angela Buchanan, the 37th Treasurer of the United States, was instrumental in supporting the creation of the United States Silver Eagle Bullion Program, coins beloved by investors and collectors alike. But Treasurer Buchanan dreamed of more. She envisioned a silver double eagle $2 coin. Now, inspired and endorsed by Treasurer Buchanan, comes the release of the new .999 pure silver $2 double eagle, meticulously struck with highly prized frosted relief and the mirror-like backgrounds of brilliant silver proofs. Each of these Cook Islands non-circulating legal tender coins is purer than any U.S. silver dollar ever to circulate. It boasts 2 eagles in flight on the obverse with the words American Double Eagle. The reverse features the iconic Liberty Bell, the Cook Island imprimatur, and the important $2 denomination. Now you can reserve your own $2 double eagle. Each coin is struck in .25 troy ounces of .999 pure silver. The final issue price was to be set at $39 per coin. But during this limited release, the new 2022 Silver Double Eagle $2 coin can be yours for only $19.95. Each coin comes with a certificate of authenticity, verifying its precious metal content and legal tender status. There is a strict limit of 5 coins per caller. Earliest orders will receive priority status over later ones. All are covered by our 100% guarantee of satisfaction. So hurry, avoid disappointment and future regret. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-869-9055. Strict limit of 5 coins per caller. Call 1-800-869-9055. That's 1-800-869-9055. Call or log on now.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Don't worry, help is on the way. With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, and batteries never need charging.
I was having a stroke, and I was scared to death.
If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Life Alert is a lifesaver.
My husband is alive because of Life Alert.
Life Alert is the lifesaver to keep me out of assisted living.
Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-314-4548. That's 1-800-314-4548. Call now, 1-800-314-4548.
Hi, it's me again. Listen to this. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check every month may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with the benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Check your zip code. It could be dynamite. Call now.
Call 1-800-595-8348. That's 1-800-595-8348 now.
I'm Terry Austin, and you're watching Law and Crime.
Does your client want to appeal?
Oh, absolutely. And she has some excellent grounds for it. We even had tried to get the UK judgment in to dismiss his case because he already had his shot. And that's one of the issues, but also a number of the evidentiary issues. There was so much evidence that did not come in.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
All right, welcome back to Law and Crime's afternoon session. My name is Bob Bianchi. I'll be taking it at 5 o'clock. We are going over the Johnny Depp Amber Heard verdict with some great guest commentary. You know, obviously a fascinating case. Many weeks of the trial going on, about 12.5 hours of deliberation over 3 days. Johnny Depp coming back as the major significant winner in the case with a $10 million compensatory judgment award on all 3 of his claims, not to mention a $5 million punitive award. However, by operation of law in Virginia, that is reduced to $350,000. But it wasn't all Johnny Depp all the way. He won on all his claims, but there were 3 claims made against Depp and a countersuit filed by Amber Heard, where she did eke out a small victory. Let's take a listen to how she indicated the statements made by Johnny Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman, not by Johnny Depp, but by Adam Waldman, how that affected her life. Let's go back live to that courtroom testimony.
Amber, I'm going to ask you to describe to this jury the emotional impact on you of these 3 statements that we have talked about, these 3 counterclaim statements. Please describe how this has impacted you.
These statements are used over and over and over and over again online to reverberate, re-echo, and re-energize.
Objection, Your Honor, this is not responsive, lack of foundation, and hearsay.
She gets to give her consent for it.
Well, her emotional, the question was your emotional impact of these statements.
Okay.
The impact it has on me is every time I look at it, which is every day. I am set back. I have to relive it. I have to have the worst, most painful things I've ever gone through, painful memories I've ever had, the things I've narrowly survived at times, embarrassing, intimate details that I never wanted to be known, never wanted to be public ever, and to have them used every single day to call me a liar. I have to relive this every single day that I have to address those claims. Over and over again, the most intimate, embarrassing, deeply humiliating and personal things that I've survived are used against me every day. Over and over again. It's torture. I'm in so much pain emotionally. I just wanted him to leave me alone. I wanted to move on with my life. And he won't let me. By making statements like this, he won't let me. I have to be here today. I have to be reliving it every single time. He, with these statements, with these leaks, these comments, once again, makes me have to speak to the most horrifying things I have lived through. It's torture. It's torturous. Why don't you have to do that? I want to move on with my life. I have a baby. I want to move on. I want to move on. I want Johnny to move on too. I want him to leave me alone.
Okay, there you saw emotions that Amber Heard was demonstrating to the jury. This was a part of the suit that she did won, a small part. Again, I want to emphasize this is with regard to statements that Johnny Depp's attorney, Adam Waldman, made. This is back in April 27, 2020 on the online edition of the Daily Mail. And this is what the statement was by Adam Waldman, the attorney. Quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. They set up Mr. Depp by calling the cops, but the first attempt didn't do the trick. The officers came to the penthouses, thoroughly searched and interviewed, and left after seeing no damage to face or property. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine and roughed the place up, got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and publicist, and then placed a second call to 911. So that is the statement which Amber Heard was successful. There was a $2 million verdict by the jury in compensatory damages, but interestingly, unlike the damages that Johnny Depp was awarded, there were no punitive damages awarded for that by the jury on Amber Heard's case. So let me go to my guest. We still have Julie Rendelman with us, a law and crime legal analyst, criminal defense lawyer, and former prosecutor, and Florina Altshiler is a criminal defense lawyer. Florina, welcome to the circus, if you will. I mean, this case, you know, a lot of people say, Florina, that this case was so popular because of the celebrity involved, and of course there's an aspect to it. But I think there's a big undercurrent here about this whole issue of domestic violence and domestic violence against men. I mean, when you're looking at social media, you see that people are saying it's making a huge statement about deprecating the Me Too movement, and some who disagree with that. You know, Amber Heard herself essentially taunted Johnny Depp. This was the evidence that came out. Yeah, go ahead, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, go say that you're a male that's a victim of domestic violence. I can tell you from firsthand experience as a trial attorney, that is not the first time a woman has said something like that to a man, and in fact has been a person who has been the abusive party. What disturbs me, Florina, is that this verdict is somehow being taken as something that is against women. I disagree. It's against people who are not credible or believable when they bring an allegation. Florina.
Excellent points, right? This was a credibility contest. This was a question of whose story made more sense, whose story was supported by the facts, and who did the jury believe? Now, interestingly, they kind of believed her as well, that his lawyer's statement on behalf of him was also false and therefore defamatory. But overall, obviously, based on the value of the civil verdict and based on them finding for all 3 counts of defamation, they believe that the statements that she made and suggesting that she's a victim of domestic violence was false. So they did not believe her stories, and they did believe him, and he's the more credible person. I wonder, though, because they're both actors, whether her appearing to be acting was really what did her in. Just the way she testified did not appear very credible. It appeared to be an act, unfortunately.
Well, you know, Julie Rendelman, none of us are actors, but we do try to play them when we're in court. And, you know, the bottom line of being a great actor is not letting people know that you're acting. I think it was more of the tapes and the evidence that came out. The independent evidence that they showed disputed many of the things that Amber Heard said that I think were very damning here. But Julie, I'm curious. You know, we're also talking about the court of public opinion. Johnny Depp won down the board. And to Florina's point, they essentially said, we do not believe a single thing you said about an act of domestic violence or sexual abuse, or at least that would be what you can infer from that verdict. On the other hand, Amber Heard wins a verdict against the lawyer of Johnny Depp. So it's not even really like Johnny Depp himself. Explain how that happened. And I think that kind of exonerates Johnny Depp a little bit that he didn't make the statement himself.
Well, it is different because, you know, Johnny Depp isn't the one who made the statement. However, the jury did have to find that Johnny Depp, I don't want to use the word conspired, but was part and parcel of making that statement, that he made the decision with the attorney to make that statement. And so keep in mind, Amber Heard didn't sue the attorney. She sued Johnny Depp because she, you know, the argument is that he was in control and contributed in terms of what his attorney was going to say. But, you know, look, I mean, at the end of the day, the part of which she won was in regards to one specific allegation from one specific night. It wasn't like the winning argument, the winning statement was regards to a general statement of domestic abuse or lack of domestic abuse. It was about one incident regarding the 911 call. And the jury, by the way, could have nitpicked and said that, you know, they were the part about the spilling the wine wasn't true, and rise to the level of actual malice, and therefore that's why they found it. I will note something when we talk about acting. It's so funny when we look back at Amber Heard testifying now, because all of us talked about, did we find her credible? Did the jury like it when she stared at them every single time a question was asked? Did that seem rehearsed? It always bothered me, obviously, when she kept looking at the jury, but she was probably told to do that because she was told that's the way to do it. But it's so funny in retrospect, not funny, but it's interesting in retrospect to look back and go, God, this jury was looking at her and never bought a single word out of her mouth.
Yeah, you actually bring up a good point. But clearly, that's what the jury verdict essentially said. But I found it to be very inartful for the attorneys, and we do this all the time, Julie, in a courtroom. You're right. We say try to look at the jury when you're answering a question, but it became so overwhelming. You need to back your witness off and say, stop. Answer me directly. It's coming off as funny or weird or odd. Maybe even some of the jurors feeling somewhat kind of put upon that they're being stared at like that. Who knows? Hopefully, we'll find out. But Johnny Depp said he may have won the case, but he had already lost the trial. Let's listen to a little bit of his statements during the case itself, and I think some of this self-deprecation that Johnny Depp came to the stand with kind of maybe convinced the jury to feel some level of sympathy for him. Let's go to it.
What, to your understanding, is the status of Pirates 6?
At this point?
Yes.
I believe it's in dangle mode.
Mr. Depp, have you ever physically assaulted Miss Heard?
Never.
Have you ever sexually assaulted Miss Heard?
Never. Certainly not.
What have you lost as a result of Miss Heard making these allegations against you?
Nothing less than everything. Nothing less than everything. When the allegations were made, when the allegations were rapidly circling the globe, telling people that I was a drunken, cocaine-fueled menace who beat women suddenly in my 50s. It's over. You're done. So, what did it do to me? What effect did it have on me? I'll put it to you this way. No matter the outcome of this trial, the second the allegations were made against me, the accusations, the second that more and more of these things, as I said, metastasized and turned into fodder for the media. Once that happens, or once that happened, I lost then.
Florina, interested in your thoughts about this. The tactics of the lawyers can make a huge difference in the outcome of a case. And what I mean by that is, did they beat Johnny Depp up too much with his drug and alcohol abuse? He was readily admitting it. It was clear that, he has a problem. He was very self-aware of that. But connecting that to the domestic abuse, was that a successful strategy in your mind, or did they go too far?
I think it was a stretch. I think Depp's lawyers did a nice job preparing him to own it. And as a witness, he did a nice job owning it. And so really, if it came in for credibility, if he denied it, if he played games about it, pretended he didn't do it, perhaps it could damage his testimony by saying, hey, look, you lied about these things. And if you lied about this, we can't believe other things you said. But instead of him lying about it, he kind of owned it. I think the jury expected him to use drugs and expected him to have nights of being drunk because he's a celebrity, he's an actor. This is kind of what is expected. The stretch was because he drinks a lot, because he does drugs, then he's probably capable of domestic violence. And that was the angle they tried to play up. I think, however, because he came out believable and likable, the jury was not willing to take that leap and make that stretch. Instead, they said, hey, look, we believe him. He admitted this. Yeah, he gets drunk. Yeah, he does drugs sometimes, but that doesn't mean he beat her.
Florina, you said something very interesting. You said he was prepared well by his lawyers. I'm wondering if we get on the other end of this break, if we'll say the same when the words Kate Moss came out of Amber Heard's mouth. We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-256-1761. That's 1-800-256-1761 now.
What does the future of strength look like? It's a personal trainer that assesses your strength and adds weight as you progress. It's dynamic weight that adjusts for you in real time for a more efficient workout. Come on! And it's a roster of coaches that motivates you to get stronger, faster. The future is strength you can feel and results you can see. And you can only experience it on Tonal.
Learn more at tonal.com.
Baby, you're a perfect 10. I wanna get in. Can I get down so I can win? I like the way you work it. No need. I got to bag it up. Bag it up. I like the way you work it.
I love Simplify by Quicken. It shows me how much I'm spending and creates a personalized spending plan. I always know how much I can spend and save. How much more could you save? Take the Simplify challenge and find out. Named the best budgeting app by the New York Times Wirecutter. Start your free trial today.
I've always been prone to hair thinning.
I was under a lot of stress.
I was getting older.
I started taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement.
I am back to me.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
With Bonfire, you can easily fundraise by selling custom shirts online, upload your artwork, or create a design right on our website. In these unique times, you can still make a difference. Fundraise with custom shirts today on bonfire.com.
I'm Jesse Weber, and you're watching Law and Crime.
Hi, welcome back to the afternoon session. My name is Bob Bianchi. As you all know already, the news shot around the world as the verdict is in the case yesterday after 12 and a half hours of deliberation over 3 days. A $10 million compensatory award judgment for Johnny Depp with a $5 million punitive damage award that got reduced by operation of law to $350,000. I apologize. And Amber Heard won on one of her counts for statements made by Johnny Depp's attorney in the amount of $2 million. Yesterday, the network had an opportunity to talk to Kathleen Zellner. You may remember her. She was from Making a Murderer. She actually consulted with Johnny Depp, and let's listen to a little bit about what she had to say, her viewpoint was, and how the case unfolded.
I really approached the case more as a criminal attorney, and Johnny had reached out to me just, a few months ago. I told him I was getting ready for a murder case, and then the murder case got continued. So I was able to, carry on conversations with him and sit through some of the depositions. But I really think it came down to credibility. I think her case failed. And looking at it as a criminal attorney, it failed on the forensic evidence. Those beatings and abuse that she described did not happen. I've been doing criminal cases for over 30 years, and the forensic evidence simply wasn't there. She just did not suffer the injuries. Forget about having witnesses. I can understand, that abuse victims don't have firsthand knowledge, witnesses present, but the evidence wasn't there. There just was not the forensic evidence to support what she was claiming. The second thing, because I've represented a lot of sexual abuse victims over the years, she wasn't afraid of him. And I think Camille Vasquez did a beautiful job of laying all that out, not only in the cross-examination, but in the closing. I mean, she wasn't afraid of him. She was, taunting him. She was very aggressive. And so her case just collapsed, and that falls at her feet. She just was not credible. That's why she lost. And you're right. I mean, we've had cases, where people have been raped with objects, and that is somebody that's very far advanced in that pathology. And plus, just she could not explain, the fact he had his cast on. The evidence wasn't there. There wasn't anything that indicated it had happened the way she said. Even the location was wrong. And she did not show the trauma that I've seen with sexual assault victims. And you're right about the perpetrators. There's no possible way that somebody would just wake up at age 58 and commit that kind of crime. It never happened.
Florina, what are your thoughts about especially her argument that Amber Heard was not acting like a victim? I'm sure that's going to be a controversial statement by some, but essentially she's saying that she was afraid of Johnny Depp, that she was actually taunting him and was aggressive towards him. What are your thoughts?
That statement does concern me. The concern is that it would have a chilling effect on other victims who are real victims of sexual assault. And as someone who's prosecuted sexual assault, I can tell you that different victims react differently, have different demeanors, and present differently. I think really, though, it's not that she didn't act like a victim of sexual assault. It's that she appeared in the manner in which she was testifying to really be acting. And I think that's why she was not credible. And I think when you couple it with all the other evidence, and when you pair it with what she sounded like in those recordings, which was vicious and manipulative, that's where she loses her credibility. But I think it's really unfair to say that a sexual assault victim needs to act a certain way. Some people cry, some people are serious, some people show no emotion. That alone does not mean that they were not sexually assaulted. However, when there's no forensic evidence to support it, that's a problem.
Well, and I want to make sure this is clear because we were all prosecutors at one point in time in our lives, and I'm sure we have all tried cases where it was just the victim's word and the credibility and believable of the victim led to convictions. That does happen, and that gets me to the point of how Amber Heard testified, Julie. We talked a little bit more about the weirdness of looking at the jury, but how do you get past that tape where she's saying, oh, you're going to run away, Johnny, I didn't deck you, I punch you. I mean, that may be even more impactful because it's a real life situation happening. What do you think?
I think if she had owned it, like Johnny Depp owned his drug use, she would have been fared much better in front of this jury to say to the jury, listen, I acted very poorly that day, and explain what transpired. Maybe at that point, the jury could have said, okay, that was a one-off, and therefore maybe we can find her credible with everything else. The problem for her is she consistently denied and made excuses for every single thing she did, even including whether or not she, gave money, that she was supposed to give. So, her credibility was always at stake because she couldn't answer truthfully.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people are missing that are just reading the headlines, Florina and Julie, is that they're not looking at all those instances she would accept no responsibility for. And I think they came off as that she was shading the truth, potentially lying. And if she's lying about that, maybe she's lying about everything else. And to the other point, maybe there was evidence that supported Johnny Depp's claim. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
I'm Sean Stix Larkin, and you're watching Law and Crime.
Embarrassed by ugly, yellow toenail fungus? This stubborn condition won't go away on its own and usually spreads and gets worse. You need Crystal Flush, the new and different at-home treatment that flushes out fungus fast. The secret is its breakthrough two-step system. Its non-prescription serum contains the maximum strength FDA-approved ingredient, and the unique capsule helps balance the body's natural defense to fungus. Call right now and try Crystal Flush for 30 days absolutely risk-free. Call or visit crystalflush.com now.
The world's gone wild over bucket hats. How do you improve on the must-have headwear everybody wants? With breakthrough cooling technology. Mission is the leader in cooling and heat relief innovations, now engineered into a full line of stylish and versatile bucket hats. The coolest hat you'll ever wear. On the outside, UPF 50 performance fabric. On the inside, our exclusive hydroactive cooling technology, now with 50% more cooling power. Activate with water, ring, and wave for cooling up to 30 degrees below your body temperature in under a minute. It's like your own climate control that goes where you go. Conquering the great outdoors, looking fabulous by the pool, or even better on the town. Hard at work or hard at play. No matter how hot it gets, cool more, do more with Mission. Machine washable, chemical-free cooling that lasts for hours. Go to mission.com right now to get your own cooling bucket hat starting as low as $19.99. For a limited time, use the promo code below to save 25% and get free shipping on all Mission cooling and heat relief innovations.
At Boll & Branch, we don't make bedding like everyone else. We make it better. We prioritize thread quality, not thread count. We source the finest 100% organic cotton to make the softest, most luxurious fabrics on earth. We're free from toxins, the way home should be. Boll & Branch is made different, so you can sleep better at night. Experience the difference at bollandbranch.com.
Roy and Debbie retired, then had to face a volatile market. Worried that their retirement may not last, they contacted their personal capital advisor. They used our free retirement planner, which showed them their chances of retirement success, so that they can make the right decisions about their future and be ready for whatever the market may bring. Get the free retirement planner, then talk to an advisor. Start today at personalcapital.com.
This is Mary Ann's first time visiting Paris.
Madame, où allez-vous?
Before Mary Ann packed her bags, before she attempted her first sentence in French, before she completed her first 15-minute lesson,
Yes.
she downloaded Babbel. Babbel helped unlock her lifelong dream of learning French. She started speaking in just 3 weeks. So when it came time to tell the cab driver to take her to the Hotel Pierre,
J'aimerais aller à l'hôtel Pierre.
Oh, c'est très bien. J'espère que votre voyage s'est bien passé.
150 language experts and educators designed Babbel to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language. Babbel focuses on natural conversation. You'll remember what you learn, and you can speak and pronounce with confidence. Start speaking a new language in 3 weeks. Try it for free at babbel.com.
Oh my goodness, this mascara, fabulous.
A hydrating mascara.
And the curved one just lifts your lashes like crazy.
It looks great with silver hair.
Hypoallergenic.
Absolutely love Boom Bright.
Calibrate is a doctor-guided weight loss program that combines virtual doctor visits, FDA-approved medication, and one-on-one video coaching to reset your metabolic system. Get back in control of your weight and your health with Calibrate. Sign up today at joincalibrate.com.
All right, welcome back to the afternoon session. My name is Bob Bianchi. So we are recapping the most important aspects and so many more questions we're going to have about this case because it's not the end of the day for sure. There was 12 hours and 45 minutes of deliberation over 3 days, and they came back with a resoundingly favorable verdict for Johnny Depp. $10 million compensatory damages, $5 million in punitive damages. That's reduced by operation of law to $350,000. He won on all 3 of his claims. Amber Heard won on one of her claims for statements that Johnny Depp's attorney made, the jury awarding $2 million in compensatory damages, but no punitive damages. We were just talking with our awesome guest, and a very interesting and memorable moment in the trial came when there was discussion about money that Amber Heard had pledged, $7 million from her divorce that she was going to give to the ACLU and a children's hospital in LA, which she has not finished paying. Let's listen to a little bit of the cross-examination of Camille Vasquez as she talks about this situation that got a little heated and became a big part of the trial and maybe a big part of the lack of credibility the jury ultimately found with respect to Amber Heard.
So back to October of 2018, this was before Mr. Depp sued you for defamation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
He didn't sue you until after the op-ed came out in December of 2018, right?
He sued me in 2019.
And the op-ed came out in December of 2018.
That is correct.
So in October of 2018, you had received your entire $7 million divorce settlement. You would agree with me?
That is correct.
Okay. And you hadn't yet been sued by Mr. Depp?
This is October, correct.
So in this October 2018 interview, you said that you had, quote, donated, end quote, your entire divorce settlement to charity, right?
That's correct.
And in fact, your exact words were, quote, $7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, end quote, right?
That's correct. I made that statement as soon as I got a divorce and we reached the settlement. That's when I pledged it, right then.
And you say this because you, quote, wanted nothing, end quote.
That is correct.
But you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
That's incorrect.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety of the settlement, $7 million to charity, and I intend to fulfill those obligations.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question. Please,
try
to answer my question. Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million, donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another.
But I don't. Ms. Heard, I don't use it synonymously.
That's how donations are paid.
Ms. Heard, respectfully, that's not my question. As of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the ACLU. Yes or no?
I have not yet.
And as of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, correct?
I have not yet. Johnny sued me.
So as of today, you have not donated, paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
And that's because you did want something, didn't you?
I didn't want anything, and I didn't get anything.
You wanted Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it, wasn't interested in it.
Under oath, that statement wasn't true, was it, Ms. Heard?
I'm sorry, I don't follow your question. Sorry.
You testified under oath, quote, "The entirety of my divorce settlement was donated to charity," end quote. That statement wasn't true.
It is true. I pledged the entirety to charity.
The statement...
When you say you buy a house, you don't pay for the entire house at one time. You pay it over time.
I'm not asking, Ms. Heard.
All right, next question, please.
Thank you. That statement isn't true today, as you sit here today, is it?
It is true. I pledged the entirety.
But you didn't donate it.
Unfortunately,
you didn't donate it. It's a yes or no.
I haven't been able to to fulfill those obligations.
So that's a no, right, Ms. Heard?
I made the pledge. I want to be very clear. I pledged the entirety. I haven't been able to fulfill those pledges because I've been sued.
You had all of the $7 million for 13 months before Mr. Depp sued you, and you chose not to pay it to the charities you pledged it to. Is that correct, Ms.
I
Heard?
disagree with your characterization of that.
All right, guys, let me bring in, again, Julie Rendelman, a Law&Crime legal analyst, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, and Florina Altshiler is a criminal defense lawyer. When you got to the point where there were many months before the suit that she didn't pay, Julie, how damaging was that exchange, do you think, in terms of credibility for Amber Heard?
To a degree, her argument, when you buy a house, you don't pay for the whole house. So I said I got it, but here's the thing: why didn't she just be honest with her and just explain she pledged, but she hadn't provided the money, and not have it be an engagement of a back and forth? Because it did start to question just what she really was doing with the money, and it made you think that she really was never planning to give that money ever. And so I don't know why she didn't just, again, as we talked about before, just own the fact that the word pledge does not mean the same thing as actually physically donating the money. I feel like it wouldn't have given anything for the jury in terms of credibility. The jury would have thought it was a nothing thing, but it seems like she made it a bigger thing by not just answering.
Florina, I want to go to some trial tactics because we're trial attorneys and this is what we like to do. So, when we're in court, we have to be second guessed and armchair quarterback. So now that we're in this luxurious position of watching a trial, well, I found it compelling. And I feel bad for the guy when he got up there and he objected to the question that he asked, but essentially the witness was not answering the question that he wanted asked and he objected. But what you saw with Ms. Vasquez was, in my mind, she seemed very prosecutorial. I don't know her background. I don't know if she ever was a prosecutor, but essentially she would either interrupt, which I'm surprised the judge didn't, jump in. There wasn't an objection to that. So she took that vacuum that there's no objection, the judge isn't interrupting, really handled Amber Heard very well and actually kind of started testifying herself. I look at that as a pretty skilled cross-examination in that regard. What were your thoughts?
A lot of people really liked how she questioned witnesses and her trial technique. I think it worked with Amber Heard because people don't like Amber Heard. And so when you have a witness who's hostile, who's avoiding answering your question, who's playing games with verbiage, you can be aggressive. You can take control. You can say things like, "That wasn't my question, answer my question." I don't think that style is a one-size-fits-all style. I don't think it works well with other witnesses. You can't go on the offensive and attack a witness who's, a nun on a school bus. So you have to adjust based on who the witness is. And if the witness is a kind and likable witness, you really can't be that aggressive and fight with them like that. For this witness, the style did work.
Yeah, Florina, I cannot agree with you more. And my training of trial lawyers is that you can't be one speed with every witness. You got to flux and flow. I think that is an amazingly excellent practice point for all of our law students and people that are trial lawyers that watch this show. That's one to take home. So anyway, the attorney for Amber Heard is left with this testimony. Elaine Bredehoft has to deal with this in her closing arguments and try to do something to take the damage or sting out of that exchange and many others. Let's take a listen.
So if you do the math, Amber is entitled to at least 31.5. What does she take? $7 million. What does she do with the $7 million? She gives it to charity, or she intends to give it to charity. Now, they make much ado about the pledge versus donation, but both the corporate designees for ACLU and for Children's Hospital said donation and pledge are interchangeable. These are pledges. The ACLU corporate designee said you typically do pledges because of the tax benefits, and that's what she said. She pledged it over a period of time because of the tax implications to it and because she was getting paid over the time. Now, she started to make these donations, and you'll see that the first one was on behalf of Mr. Depp's business manager, Mr. White, actually sent the letters with the $100,000 for each of those. That was the initial ones. He was trying to take credit for those, and in fact, both the ACLU and Children's Hospital got confused and gave the credit to Mr. Depp, not to Amber, for those. Then she made payments to both, and Elon Musk also made payments to both for $500,000 each, which she didn't count to her pledge, but they helped those organizations. At the end of the day, she's made $1 million in payments to them, but then she got sued here and hasn't been able to because she spent $6 million in attorney's fees. That is unrefuted. She still intends to pay those pledges, honor those pledges, and she said that throughout, and I elicited from both the ACLU and from Children's Hospital, they haven't expired, she can pay them whenever she wants to, and she fully intends to, but she has to get out from under this first. Now, who would blame a woman for giving $1 million in charitable donations? Who would do that? That sounds like psychological abuse to me. Now, Mr. Mandel testified that Johnny Depp is not a charitable person, and he hasn't written any big checks for him. Mr. Depp got on the stand and says he does it anonymously, but Mr. Mandel would have been the one writing the checks, and he says that didn't happen.
Julie, when I first heard that, and I'm going to go back to it again, when she said, what woman would do that sounds like abuse to me, is she referring to Ms. Vasquez? Vasquez that did that, or somebody else? And by the way, secondly, was her argument effective in summation?
Can't figure out who she was blaming. I felt like it was Johnny Depp. I'm not sure. Look, it kind of goes back to what I'm talking about before is I'm not sure. This was not the argument to be made. If I were her, I would have gotten up there and either said nothing about it or give a one line, which is to say kind of what Amber Heard said, which is she gave $1 million, just like at buying a house, you don't give it all at the same time. There's no evidence whatsoever that she doesn't intend to repay it, period. But to go into this whole thing and then have a competition about which side gives more money, and it seems like she's getting now lost in the weeds. And as an attorney, you don't want to come off as so defensive that you have to think of different ways to explain why your client got on the stand and wasn't completely truthful. So it didn't, to me, it didn't inure, that argument did not inure to her benefit.
Yeah, Julie, I also want just to toss back one more question to you to respond to Florina, because I think it is such an important point she made as a very skilled former prosecutor and now criminal defense lawyer. We see this all the time where people kind of question witnesses the same exact way. Talk a little bit what Florina said about maybe why Ms. Vasquez was given the latitude by the court and how it may not come off bad to the jury based on how Amber Heard was responding.
Well, you know, it's an interesting thing, Bob. Do you remember, I remember it was someone on Amber Heard's team was cross-examining one of the witnesses. And I remember we were on together, you found them too aggressive. And part of the reason, and I don't remember specifically who it was or what the dynamic was, but part of the reason when we're watching and we feel like someone's being too aggressive is you really do have to cater or kind of decide how you're going to cross-examine someone based on the atmosphere, based on the actual witness that you're cross-examining, to decide what the appropriate thing was. And so if you're aggressive towards every single witness, it's not going to come off as well as when you kind of modulate depending on who the witness is. I'll say another thing is one of the smart things about Camille Vasquez is she understands not only who her audience is in terms of the jury, in terms of the witness, but who the judge is. And you got to be smart to know how you can kind of make sure that the judge rules in your favor. Sometimes a judge, believe it or not, gets intimidated by you and will follow your lead in deciding when they're going to interrupt you. And so I think she mastered that as well.
Yeah, guys, I think that it'd be really hard unless you've tried a case and been in that courtroom to know all these dynamics that you're both talking about are very real and can have a very profound impact on how the case resolves. We're going to take a quick break. We got a lot more on the other end. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm Brian Ross, and you're watching Law and Crime.
Attention Medicare recipients. The Inogen One Portable Oxygen Concentrator may now be available at little or no cost to you. Call 800-418-9366 to order yours today. Inogen oxygen concentrators are portable and make oxygen from the air around you. They're light, quiet, and battery operated to go everywhere you go. And we have a full line of portable oxygen units to fit a wide range of budgets. If you're on Medicare, you may even qualify to get your Inogen unit at little or no cost to you. Go back to joining friends for the breakfast special, make spending time with the grandkids easier, or start attending your religious services again. Call Inogen now for a free information kit and a free no-obligation consultation on our complete line of affordable portable oxygen products. And anyone on Medicare or with eligible insurance plans may qualify to get an Inogen One at little or no cost. Call 800-418-9366. That's 800-418-9366.
Why is everyone talking about Navage and nasal irrigation?
I am one who suffers from chronic sinus infections.
If you work in construction, you work around sawdust or any type of dust, you need to clean that crap out of your nose.
She snores.
We both snore.
The science is simple. Allergens and viruses invade through your nose, the body's air filter. When it gets clogged up, germs multiply and you can get sick. Nasal irrigation is an all-natural way to clean your nose. It's not a drug. It's more like plumbing. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril around the back of the nose and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and viruses. Over 80,000 reviews confirm it. Navage makes nose cleaning easy so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier.
I love this thing. I give it like an A+++.
It does clean out what's going on inside here.
It's nice to breathe.
Now it's time for you to breathe better too with Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Calm. Download the free app now.
Cover it up. That's what I did when I started losing my hair. Then I realized I could actually do something. Now I use Keeps, the easiest way to keep my hair. And it only costs $1 a day, which means no more covering up. Get started at Keeps.com.
With Bonfire, you can easily fundraise by selling custom shirts online, upload your artwork, or create a design right on our website. In these unique times, you can still make a difference. Fundraise with custom shirts today on bonfire.com.
You would think a pan is a pan until Made In came along, and I went, wow, these things are something better.
Those are the pans that we use at Alinea, at one of the best restaurants in the world.
It's built for a home cook like me, but fit for Alinea like him.
All right, welcome back. My name is Bob Bianchi. Afternoon session. We're going to go to 5 o'clock, and we got a lot more with our great guests. You know, when I first was covering this trial, you may have recalled, those who follow us here, that I wasn't really excited about this case, but I got to tell you what, the case had everything. A lot of people think it's just about the celebrity, but it had a lot to do with the law. It had a lot to do with movements, domestic violence, the way court proceedings go. I think this is one that's going to be looked at and probably shown to a lot of law schools, and probably a lot of it segmented out in trial training courses for many years to come. Part of that is the rebuttal case, okay? So when each of the cases are in, they're going to have their last opportunity to be able to make a statement, and usually they're going to be going towards those things that they think are most important, maybe where they got hurt or where they want to clean that up, and maybe they want to go to a place that they want to emphasize. So Heard and Depp both gave that kind of testimony, their last impression before the court. Let's listen to a little bit from Amber Heard.
Have you suffered publicly as a result of the Depp-Waldman statements?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled. I am harassed, humiliated, threatened every single day. Even just walking into this courtroom, sitting here in front of the world, having the worst parts of my life, things I've lived through, used to humiliate me. People want to kill me, and they tell me so every day. People want to put my baby in the microwave, and they tell me that. Johnny threatened, promised me that if I ever left him, he'd make me think of him every single day that I lived.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
No human being is perfect, certainly not. None of us. But I have never in my life committed sexual battery, physical abuse, all these outlandish, outrageous stories of me committing these things and living with it for 6 years and waiting to be able to bring the truth out. So this is not easy for any of us. I know that. But no matter what happens, I did get here, and I did tell the truth, and I have spoken up for what I've been carrying on my back reluctantly for 6 years.
Florina, I want to go to you first on this. I just jotted down a note. It may not be entirely fair, but it's my subjective thought and kind of captured from based on the last opportunities they have to speak to the jury. You hear Johnny Depp self-deprecating, humanizing himself. No human being is perfect, and talks about this case and its effect on others. And you have Amber Heard on the other side, pretty much not accepting responsibility for much in this case. I think it'd be a fair assessment of what her testimony was like, and talking about me or her. Do you think that this just juxtaposition of the personalities of these two individuals would have made a big impact on the jury?
Well, of course, this was a credibility contest, and I think, Bob, you're absolutely right. Because it was me on Heard's part, which in fairness, if she is a victim, then there is no self-responsibility there, right? Victims aren't the ones to blame. So her playing the victim, she's playing the me card because her story is, I'm the victim, I'm the one that was wronged here. Whereas Johnny Depp is saying, look, nobody's perfect. I take responsibility for those bad things that I've done, but these specific things that she accused me of, I did not do. And that came across as him owning his errors, but at the same time being believable in denying the things that matter.
Julie, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting. One thing I will say is the one thing he didn't take ownership of was the statements of his attorney. There was a line where he was asked about the statements of his attorney. He said, I had nothing to do with it. It's just a tiny little thing, but the jury actually obviously didn't believe him with regards to that one thing, just regards to that one thing, because they found that he defamed her with regards to what his attorney said. But of course, this is a competition in terms of credibility. And, you know, I agree with Florina that her position is she's the victim, and therefore she it shouldn't be taking responsibility. But we all have been in relationships where none of us are perfect, even in the worst case of scenarios in terms of how we've behaved. And the idea that she really, and I'm repeating myself, she really took no responsibility in terms of anything she did. And that made it difficult for a jury to kind of buy, in a sense, what she was selling, because, you know, we want to hear some level of introspection in regards to who we are, particularly when we're in a relationship.
Florina, we talked before about the importance of knowing so many things, your judge, your jury, your witness. Yeah, another thing is, we talked about how Amber Heard was like doing that, and I think very ill-advised thing of constantly turning to the jury when she was being asked a question. And I think that the lawyers for Depp were very astute to stay in a further direction, so she would have to keep making even more and more of a turn. But what about Johnny Depp never looking up throughout all of her testimony? Do you think that that was an orchestrated move, planned move? How did it come off in front of the jury?
Like I said earlier, I think Johnny Depp was well prepared, and I think, unfortunately, Amber Heard was a little bit ill prepared. I'll tell you, just last month, I was cross-examining a forensic expert who was a very well-prepared, well-trained forensic scientist, and every single answer she gave, she would turn to the jury, answer the question, turn back. And I thought it was very robotic, because we as attorneys do teach our witnesses to look at the jury, but when it's overdone in a robotic manner like that, where every single answer you're turning,
guys,
it's not
gotta
good.
cut it off. Gotta cut off. Stay with the channel. I'm sorry, we gotta go. But thank you so much. I'll be back Monday, 3 to 5.
Do you find yourself buried in paper? This is the end. The end of paper.
The Epson Rapid Receipt Smart Organizer easily scans all your documents.
Paper goes in, and stress goes away.
It's the only solution on the market specifically designed to extract and digitize key data trapped on receipts and invoices. And it integrates with financial software like QuickBooks and TurboTax. Transform paper documents like contracts, tax records, warranties, wills, even recipes into searchable PDFs. So the information is always right at your fingertips, safe and secure. With this exclusive TV offer, you'll get over $300 in added value, including a robust time-saving software bundle, plus get free shipping and a money-back guarantee. Act now and save up to $100 for a limited time.
People everywhere love the Epson Rapid Receipt Smart Organizer.
When tax time rolls around, my clients need me to be ready. This smart organizer allows me to digitize my clients' tax documents, invoices, and financial records.
There's even a mobile rapid receipt you can use when you're on the go.
It's like a secret superpower. I use it to digitize receipts from my expense reports at my home office and on site. And back at the main office, I use the desktop scanner for large closing documents and client contracts. They go straight to PDFs, so I can get signatures and share digitally.
Oh, it's wonderful. I can organize important paperwork and even save my kids' artwork. So it's safe and secure, easy to share with the whole family.
Ready, Mom?
Hey, yeah, let's go.
With this exclusive TV offer, you'll get over $300 in added value, including a robust time-saving software bundle, plus get free shipping and a money-back guarantee. Act now and save up to $100 for a limited time. Go online or call to get an Epson Rapid Receipt Smart Organizer delivered right to your door. Epson Rapid Receipt. Visit buyrapidreceipt.com or call.
Piece of cake, baby.
This is an important message for everyone on Medicare. Today we are talking about Medicare Part C, commonly called Medicare Advantage. If you don't have a Medicare Part C plan, call now because there may be plans with additional benefits available that are simply not covered under Medicare Parts A and B. That's right, there are people on Medicare but don't have a Medicare Part C plan, which covers everything in Part A and Part B, plus extra benefits in Medicare Part C. Here's the good news. If you're on Medicare, you can call call even if you called last year. We will check to see if there is a Part C plan available in your area with additional benefits. If you're losing coverage, moving, or new to Medicare, call to speak with a licensed insurance agent during the special enrollment period. You don't get Medicare Part C benefits automatically, so call now for your free 2022 no-obligation Medicare benefits review. Just call 800-827-1307. 800-827-1307. This is an important message for everyone on Medicare. Today we are talking about Medicare Part C, commonly called Medicare Advantage. If you don't have a Medicare Part C plan, call now because there may be plans with additional benefits available that are simply not covered under Medicare Parts A and B. That's right, there are people on Medicare but don't have a Medicare Part C plan, which covers everything in Part A and Part B, plus extra benefits in Medicare Part C. Here's the good news. If you're on Medicare, you can call even if you called last year. We will check to see if there is a Part C plan available in your area with additional benefits. If you're losing coverage, moving, or new to Medicare, call to speak with a licensed insurance agent during the special enrollment period. You don't get Medicare Part C benefits automatically, so call now for your free 2022 no-obligation Medicare benefits review. Just call 800-827-1307. 800-827-1307.
I'm Dan Abrams, and you're watching Law&Crime.